Hello everyone, I'm Matt Cutter with Cutter & Cutter Fine Art, and we wanted to come to you today because we're going to do some brief talks about 6 new paintings, relatively new, let's say, that have come to the gallery over the last couple months. I hope everyone's having a great summer, and we know everyone gets busy this time of year, so we wanted to point out, show some unique works that we think have been in some of the recent campaigns that deserve a little attention. So here's 3 of them that are over my shoulder here, and when you click into the videos you're going to see the 3 others that we're going to discuss today. So we hope everyone's having a great summer, and we look forward to hearing your feedback. Thank you very much. So first up today, we're going to talk about Timur Akhriev, and one of his new paintings is titled Echo. And I wanted to point out Tim has done lots of great forest pieces over the years for us. This one happens to be an acrylic gouache. So what that is gouache inherently has a property that it's very matte on the finish, but typically if it gets re-wet with water, it'll reactivate. Acrylic gouache dries the whole way through. So the properties of this medium are a little bit different than some of the other pieces. But what I love what Tim has done artistically is he's stripped this scene down. It's obviously most of the leaves are off of the tree, so you're seeing the ground cover of everything that's fallen, and you're seeing the vertical nature of the trees versus the horizontal nature of the branches, and how everything grows together and sort of unites in a forest, a canopy of a forest. So I like what he's done with the color palette. He's got these high key sort of delicate blues based off lots of colors in the purple red range, and it just sets a nice mood. And I like the title he chose. He called it Echo. Obviously an echo, if you make a noise, it bounces back to you, and that's sort of what this feels like, is like as you make your way through the forest, you get that bounce back effect visually that seems to be speaking to the viewer. So I wanted to point a couple of those things out, and so definitely take a look at this new painting by Timur Akhriev. This is a painting I'm very excited about. It's titled The Sea of Poseidon by Navarro, Alfredo Navarro. And what gets me excited about this is the verticality. You typically do not see many artists do seascapes on the vertical plane. And there's reasons for that. Generally when you're looking out at the ocean, there's a broad expanse in front of you and your eyes tend to move horizontally. But what he's done with this is very unique, and the scale of it. This is the largest painting we've ever had from him in the gallery. And what I like is there's a combination. Obviously there's a lot of raw energy going on here. You can feel the waves crashing over the rocks. You'll see there's certain rocks and patterns that are breaking the waves over them. But he's put a ribbon of light, if you will, through the painting that starts up here, and that ribbon carries back and forth and makes its way down through, and simultaneously the foam of the waves are a place for the eye to rest, as well as the sky. And you can see like there's almost a united color pattern that goes on between those. So you've got these really soft edges, and then you've got all these crisp highlights that are put on with a palette knife. You can see thicker brush strokes, so the light really jumps off, and the painting feels weighted. You can feel like the volume of water, but it's anchored at the bottom. These dark colors help to really accentuate that. So I think this is incredibly unique, and to be honest, it's one of my favorites that we've had come in from him recently. I think it steps out, and he took some risks on this one, and I think it paid off dividends for him. This next painting we're going to talk about is a piece by Dmitri Danish titled Waking Up the City. And I selected this one because I feel like this is somewhat unique to what Dmitri does. We're all used to the typical city scenes where everything is darkened off and it's the artificial light of street lamps and various lights inside windows that illuminate the picture. But this one has a very dramatic late afternoon sunlight. And what I love is how bright that orange is hitting our Flagler College towers, and it has a beautiful color harmony because he's juxtaposed that with the blue in the sky. So you've got this very dramatic scene, and you can feel like this is a fleeting moment, and I think that's what Dmitri does so well. Typically when you see architectural pieces, everything is standing still, but so it's the lighting that's moving everything along. It's part of the narrative. It's changing everything. So we've all seen effects like that where the sky is just so dramatic and the light is so dramatic, and then within a few minutes it's gone. So sort of reminds us to slow down and to take it all in. But this is a beautiful piece from Dmitri, one that I think is extra special. This is one of the newer paintings from Josef Kote titled The Essence of Silence. And at our show, going back a couple months, Josef had unveiled a whole new collection of paintings tackling lily pads as a theme. But this one really struck me as unique and different than some of the other ones because this is a very difficult composition to pull off. Some artists refer to this type of a composition as equalization, where there's equal amounts of pattern going around, and so that can be really difficult because you're trying to still direct the viewer's eye to one key spot. But it's the pattern overall that carries the weight of the day. But what Josef has done, he's given us some nice dark at the bottom and the top, and the middle section is receiving most of the light. And I do believe this area here is the focal point where he really wants us to look. You're seeing the lightest light, you're seeing the most saturated color. That particular red flower seems to jump out more than the others, although there's other ones around and they're beautifully placed. This one seems to catch my eye anyway. So I love the way the title, The Essence of Silence, you feel like you're at that lily pad, at that pond, and you're not hearing anything, like you're hearing the sounds of nature. And he's describing that to us by the stillness of the water. And so I think he's really pulled off something special here. There's a lot of vibrant color, a lot of rigorous brushwork in there. You can see he loaded up his brush and he put down a very solid stroke. It's the mark of a very confident painter, someone who knows what he's really doing. And I think he's created a beautiful piece of artwork here. This is a painting by Dean Mitchell titled Winter Morning. Happens to be a watercolor, and many of you, I'm sure, are very familiar with Dean and his ability to handle watercolor. I wanted to point out in this one, he's done some very interesting things with the composition. Typically, if you're learning art, someone would tell you, don't block off the foreground, don't put a big dark shape or something that would take up the entire foreground and not let the viewer in. But there are ways around this, and an artist of Dean's caliber knows that. So what he's done here, we've got all this white snow in the foreground, but the light on the fence right in this area, it's like a warm, like almost an ochre or a sienna color. That visually is lighter than the rest of the fence, and that opens up and allows you to break into the painting, and your eye picks up on all these other whites, which sort of attach everything to the foreground snow. And also, I love what he did in the shadow of the rooftops. It's like a very subtle violet blue that complements this color so well in the front of the gate. So he's got a lot of lost and found edges. You'll look at the background, you can see the trees in the background are just super soft. You know, the edges just bleed out into the paper, which is one of the great advantages of watercolor. And then when you get into the foreground again, he's got some really crisp, nice darks that accentuate the presence of everything being closer to you. So this is a beautiful watercolor from Dean, one that I'm super excited about, because that's a tricky little composition to pull off, but not for an artist of his caliber. He's one of a kind. So. This is my newest painting, titled Through the Trees. This is a composition I had been thinking about for quite some time. It's actually a local spot here, close to the gallery, about 30 minutes away. And what intrigued me about this is the light is in the background. This was about January, and so most of the leaves are stripped off. And I like compositions that force the viewer to look through something out towards something else. There's one of my favorite artists is an artist named Daniel Garber, who is a Pennsylvania impressionist, and he did some compositions that have inspired me over the years. So this is based on a concept of that design, and I was trying to capture the strong light in the distance as it made its way casting forward. You'll see these trees are in a little bit more silhouette, and the light hitting these little lily pads down in the water is a little stronger here, and as it fades away there's more reflected light into these trees, and this gets a little bit darker because it's moving away from the light source. And I also I was excited about, there's the remnants of the previous year's leaves still on the tree. You can see some little bits of orange and sienna color, those little last leaves that hadn't dropped off, and yet the new growth was already coming in, so you see the budding green. So those are just little twinkles that your eye can pick up in the composition and sort of make your way through. So I hope you enjoy it. This was a fun one to paint for me.